Viral YouTube content in English. Fire viral title. Indiana Fever vs Seattle Storm Fire. Caitlin Clark struggles as Storm dominate. June 24 highlights and breakdown. Page facing up viral description. The Indiana Fever wrap up their Western road trip with a tough matchup against the red-hot Seattle Storm. With Caitlin Clark shooting just 1 of 16 from deep in her last 2 games, the Fever's second-half collapses continue. Meanwhile, the Storm, led by Nneka Ogwumike, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Gabby Williams, are firing on all cylinders and dominating opponents. Can the Fever regroup or will Seattle's momentum crush them? Watch the full breakdown, key stats, expert analysis, and prediction for this WNBA showdown. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications for more WNBA news, highlights, and updates. Label tags. WNBA 2025, Indiana Fever vs Seattle Storm, Caitlin Clark, Nneka Ogwumike, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Gabby Williams, WNBA highlights, WNBA breakdown, WNBA predictions, Fever vs Storm, WNBA game review, Caitlin Clark struggles, WNBA news, Indiana Fever 2025, Seattle Storm 2025, WNBA game analysis. Loudspeaker 50 viral hashtags English. #Umba 2025. #Indiana Fever. #Seattle Storm. #Caitlin Clark. #Nneka Ogwumike. #Skylar Diggins-Smith. #Gabby Williams. #Umba. #Winba News. #Umba Highlights. #Winba Fans. #Umba Basketball. #Winba Predictions. #Umba Game Day. #Umba Gamer Night. #Basketball Breakdown. #Umba Top Plays. #Umba Matchup. #Fever Storm. #Caitlin Clark Highlights. #Nneka Dominates. #Storm Basketball. #Umba Recap. #Winba Scores. #Umba Game Review. #Clark vs Storm. #Clark Umba. #Indiana Seattle. #Women in Sports. #Basketball Analysis. #Fevumba. #Storm Umba. #Clark Slump. #Umba Hot Takes. #Umba Content. #Basketball Fans. #Umba Watch. #Umba 2025 Season. #Windbound Fire. #Basketball Stars. #Winba Plays. #Hoops Breakdown. #Full Court Press. #Storm Nation. #Feverfans. #Winborza. #Basketball Updates. #Court Vision. #Umba Light. #Umba Rising Stars. #Game Danger. Let me know if you'd like a thumbnail next.